Hello, welcome to Coding with Corgi. We're going to be talking about Unit 1.2. This is about syntax as well as an introduction to what method headers and class headers look like in Java. So before we begin, I just want you to think about, I want you to review what is an algorithm. What is an algorithm? You should have already talked with your partners from last time, so in your own words, I want you to think about what is an algorithm. All right, and the next thing after writing that down, if you haven't already written that down, just go ahead and pause this video and figure that out. The next thing we're going to talk about is syntax. In general, hopefully all of you have heard of syntax before, right, Jojo? And so one of the things that people hear it a lot in is English, right? And in Java and in other programming languages, just like English is a language, you'll hear a definition that is always the same. And that is how something is written. And the order in which it's written and the meaning in that it's written. So every sentence in English has a period, has a capital letter at the beginning, etc. And in Java program, every Java program has a few things. First thing it has is it has a class header. And second thing it does is it has a main method. Those are a few of the main things that you need to remember from what a Java program has. And if you go to Unit 1.2, it is all here as well. And then, of course, the one I forgot is a brackets. So class header is simply the title of the class. The main method is the function where all the code is called. And the brackets are like the parentheses of the program. And it's for organizational purposes. They sandwich the code together. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is the class header template. Everyone should be writing anything I write down. I give you a copy of this here because in case you want to refer to it, but the more you write it down, the more you're going to remember it. Just like the more that I pet Jojo, the more he's going to remember happy times with me. Okay, so you start with public, and then you have the class, the word class. Then you have the class name. That's something you fill in. And then everything in here is in the class. So if you look at here, public class, the class, what is the name of this class? Hopefully you've looked at the template and you've noticed that the class name is here. And in this case, the name of the class is called the class. Okay. Next thing we're going to move on to is static methods and method calls. So a method, you may have heard the word function. Function is the same thing as method. In Java, we like calling them methods, but most programmers will also say the word function and people will understand. So a method is a function that is executed or that runs when called. And every method has a template. You start with public, static, and then you say the output type, output data type. That's the first blank you need to fill in. And then you have the method name. And then inside the curly bracket, I've actually forgotten something real quick. Inside the parentheses, you have the input data type and the input name. These are two blanks you fill in the parentheses, and then the rest of it is the body. And again, they are sandwiched between the two curly brackets because that's how we organize things. And throughout our examples, you'll be able to see how they're sandwiched and what is sandwiched in. So as you can see here, this is what a static method looks like. And then let's talk about the method calls. To call a method, you need to put the method name in between the main method's curly brackets. This will execute the code. So in here, you just put to call a method, you just need the method name and then example input. So whatever you have for your example input, and don't forget the semicolon. In computer science, in Java at least, the semicolon is the period of the English sentence. This will execute the code. Okay. I wanted to talk briefly about writing code and what that looks like and how you would do it. There's so many different ways of doing it, but 99.9% of the students, programmers, professionals who write code never start with just, oh, I just type it all out and boom, I'm done. Right, Jojo? So one thing that I like to do is I would like to draw it out. I can write it out, or I can diagram it out and draw a picture. So for example, say I want to draw a picture of Jojo and I want to program that. The first thing I need to do is I need to draw a head, right? And so maybe I would split his head into different facial structures. I've got the head, or I guess the face, then two eyes, got a nose. So those are the few things I would have first. Then, I guess the second step, which is draw ears on top, pointed up. And then maybe I'll draw a smile. So of course, this isn't code at all. And we will be drawing code, or excuse me, we will be writing code to help draw cute little faces like this. But as you can see, even though we're not coding, this is the step-by-step process that you're going to need, and this will help you when you're writing the code. The first thing you want to do for the code is draw the head, because that comes first, and then the two eyes and nose. Then the next step is to do the ears. The next step is the smile, and that's how you would code it. And that's why pseudocode diagrams are super, super helpful in figuring out things. Okay, now that we're done with the notes, I want you to go ahead and make a practice account. If you go here and click the link, you'll get onto here. You want to create an account, and you can use whatever email you want and whatever password you want, but do use something that you're not going to forget. Personally, I would use my OUSD email just because you're using stuff for school. If you don't want to, that's fine. I've given you a place to put your username and password in case you forget. Then, after that, I want you to go to we're using the Java 4th edition. So, you need to read the digital realms, page 4 to 6 in our textbook. If you go into our classroom under tools and materials, you'll see textbook, and there you go. And of course, we don't mean page 4 to 6 here by just scrolling, because as you can see, it's just the copyright info. I want you to actually look at the pages. So if you scroll all the way down, you'll see that the first page starts on, let's see, page 1. Page 1 starts on the PDF's page 27. And so what might be helpful is either writing that down somewhere or opening it with some PDF reader so that you can see what's going on. Okay. And then once you've done that, screenshot the 3 completed problems, open up Replit, which is our online IDE. This is where you're going to be starting to code. You get to explore it, you can press run, etc., see what happens. In this Replit, the first thing I want you to look at is like, what is the name of the class? What is the name of the method, etc. So fill this out, and then on Replit, if you click this link, you'll see some code that I've coded, a Java file that I've coded for Unit 1.2, which is this. If you look, there are two places with some code in it, and I want you to analyze it and look and fill this out. I'll give you time with your partners to work on that. But for now, if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and JoJo and I will see you later. Bye-bye.